Hey, it's ObamasWeapon.com guy here. Now, nobody would know who I was by watching these videos because the government, with their weapon, it's about keeping my personality from ever coming forth. And they did it for such durations that you don't know who I am. Now, I try to touch on the things that are important to me, nonetheless. But who am I really? My brain is almost gone. I don't have any connection to anything I do, really. That's how severe it is. What I'm talking about is, I just feel pain all the time. That's all I feel. I got this neuropsychologist I've been seeing. Now this guy knows, man, the secrets. He's telling me some voodoo witchcraft stuff, dude. If you ever been to California and see all these Indian doctors, you want to know why? It's because they're here to make money, and they come from fucking India. It's over there. They got free schools. State pays for everything to get them their medical training. Here in this country, though, it's actually expensive to go to school, like $300,000. So there's not as many American trained doctors. And so down here in California, you see that. You look up in the phone book, you see all these weird names. You see all these Indian fucking doctors. And they come here to the United States, and it's easy to pass the license exams and stuff, so they get the practice. And it's mostly for profit, and a lot of the money going back overseas. And they're not really here to do anything but make money, and the quality of care is really poor. I'm gonna ask him some more questions on what he's talking about, because he's telling me that there's a system where they don't want to help people. And it's because of this. They're making money off the whole thing. And you don't spend much time with the doctor, you know. They're just really in and out. They don't focus on their patients. And I don't know what else he's going to tell me. I just know that he got to that point and we were talking about it. Now, he's told me GSM-5's a fraud. He used to train psychiatrists. He's got pharmacological training. And the DSM-5, you know, he's of the opinion that, like, some of his people that he knows, like the DSM-5 is mostly about profit driving. The more diagnosis you use, the more easy it is to diagnose someone, so that you can give them a fake diagnosis that isn't for a real condition. With the only goal of prescribing the drug as a treatment. The drugs. So it's what everyone says is truly a farce. The whole system is a farce. The DSM-5 is a farce. And it's cool to have this guy telling me this stuff. He tells me about the county hospitals he used to work in, the state hospitals. They fucking lobotomize people there on drugs and shock therapy. Give such excessive amounts of treatment. There was rooms of people just shitting themselves in their pants. Couldn't move or talk anymore. It was as recent as the 80s. And it was just about torture. No purpose in the treatment. And they had to go and change the diapers on these people and do all that stuff. That's how bad it was and what they were doing to their own people. Making money off them, actually. So they're doing these harmful things to people. He helped put it into that one of the hospitals it was going on at. Well, he's determined that my IQ is in the 120 range. But he's using the IQs to see there is a difference between one particular type of thing and another, it's enough of a difference of 8 points that's in the range of, you know, substantiating that I have brain injury. That there's, you know, shouldn't be like that. Now, if it was just a mental condition, it wouldn't cause that, like PTSD, if that's all I had, wouldn't cause the differences. And yeah, I'm having trouble doing these neuropsych tests because I'm brain damaged, but I'm still scoring higher than 95% of the people he's used to seeing. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what the heck is that shit? I mean, how could the rest of the population do so bad, do so poorly in these tests? So he's gonna try to get me into a place, because he's got a lot of doctor friends that associates. So we're gonna try to get some advanced brain scans. General population doesn't get an fMRI, you know. So he's gonna try to get me that. This is really to test out the function of my brain, not to, like, we're not trying to rule out that I have. Well, I mean, we'll do that too, but you know, we're not trying to see if I have implants. We're not trying to see if I have schizophrenia. We're just going to do the test and see if we can substantiate brain injury with it to the maximum. Because once you get that test done, you can't really, that's the best test that they have. It's the one that can't be fooled or faked so easily. You know, like a doctor. Actually, here's the main diagnostic tool doctors use. They don't use any at all. They just sit there and guess their way around. And you get fake diagnoses. You got doctors who won't diagnose. They just sit there. You got a person sick or injured. They don't get a diagnosis. I'm trying to work my way through the city system. He thinks that what he saw, though, in the results is that I'm having the problems that might be related to someone who has been tortured, you know. But I have the potential, he says, and he wants to. That's why he's taking an extra interest in my case, because when he saw how I was performing, it sparked his interest a little more. So I tend to believe that the only problem I have is being tortured by the government. And damage that's caused. Alright. I was going to say something. I started this video. I wanted to say something. Well, I already forgot what I was going to say. That's one of my memory problems. Oh. Here's one of the areas on the damn test. I couldn't even remember who William Shakespeare was. See, I know who he is. See, I know the plays. I know Romeo and Juliet. I know the plays. But here's a couple of things that this highlights my brain injury. That when he asked who the writer of that was, I'm sitting there. I know that I'm being tested for. I got my fucked up brain, right? I'm like, well, that's totally blank, dude. That's how cool this. That's how good damage they got my brain. Was that I wouldn't be able to remember William Shakespeare. 2004, I knew who William Shakespeare was, though. So afterwards, you know, he gives me the name. It was William Shakespeare. Actually, he said Shakespeare, and then oh, good, yeah, William Shakespeare. Yep. They got me good and beat up. The other types of things that were on the test, these tests were really good, because if I got brain damage at 29 years old, I'm 30 now, there's nothing in my history that would explain it other than the state hospital and the military stuff that I'm complaining about, because I should be a healthy kid. There's another area my memory is fucking up with, is numbers. So I can actually remember less numbers going forward than I can backwards. So that's one of the weird things, is I was able to remember more numbers backwards than forwards. And so that was weird. But it's substantiating that, yeah, I've been hurt, because a couple years ago, let's say 2000, possibly is 2011, 2008 especially, I mean, no problems with numbers. I remember, he says I'll even have trouble remembering a phone number. See, that's true. I can't remember phone numbers, but I used to. Like how I remember certain phone numbers now. I used to be like really fast typer and stuff, and phone numbers and stuff, inputting the phone numbers and shit, and like, and my credit card numbers, memorizing all numbers I could. Credit card numbers, freaking bank account numbers. Now I don't know none of those. That's how good and fucked up they got me. I don't know none of my credit card numbers anymore by heart. Don't know none of my bank accounts. They just totally fucked my brain up. During torture. In 2011, I did know some of my accounts still. 2008, I definitely did, because that was one of the things I practiced, was memorizing stuff. I don't use memory aids like fucking paper and bullshit. And that's the thing I'm used to living by, is that I don't need memory aids. Now, I'm fucking so fucked up, and there's no way you're getting me to use a memory aid either. I can't even do that. So if I you know, I can't even get to the point of writing something down if I need to, or saving it, or bookmarking it in a computer. I'm used to just remembering everything I ever come across. People, names, locations. Never forget anything. That was me. Photographic memory, Todd, man. They've destroyed my photographic memory too. Because in 2010, I had really good visual memory, photographic memory. Now I can't hardly imagine even a giraffe in my own mind. They were working on trying to wipe that out of my brain. This weapon, they're eating at my brain. The military was fucking with. They wanted me dead, so they started targeting me for trauma and torture more and more. Each time I was traumatized by their weapon, went into a stronger and stronger response. My doctor says, oh my god, that's post-traumatic encephalopathy. Each time you get hurt, the response was stronger and stronger. And he knew the symptoms of it all. This is this one guy. And I've already told you in previous video that this current psychologist, he's like, well, you're not crazy. You understand things very well. And your reasoning is some of the best. Your perceptions and everything, and what you'd respond by doing. So I was one of the sanest people. He said I'm in that class of some of the sanest. And that's done because he's asking questions. He says, oh, and what would you do in this situation, you know, and blah blah blah. He's got a bunch of questions and a bunch of other tests he was giving me. So it turns out that I know exactly how to live a life. But here I am, I can't get my life together though, because I'm being raped and tortured by the government. And they like, seriously, look at this guy, man. Look at all the satellites up there. You can't see them, but they're there, and they can see you. They're so high resolution. They're zoomed into the fucking planet's surface. And this is used for surveillance. People have not even begun to have a conversation about what's up there in the sky. What the NSA has up there, what the NRO, the Air Force, and others have up there. FBI, damn US DOJ has some satellites. So what are they doing? And we know. See, my website's all about that. They have transmitters, they got building penetrating, people penetrating technologies up there. And they're secretly hitting people. They're attacking them. They're doing building penetrating tomography. That's what they're doing. They tracking your heart rate and your pulse, doing brainwave decoding, and that's just the surveillance part of it, man. And then once they got that information, dude, they're doing that to target people, to harass them. Because that's the one thing, that the New World Order, man, that George fucking Bush set up. That's what all the countries, they have the rich are in power, the poor are not in power, And they're all safe from each other. They're all working together. Everyone buys in the NSA, for example. There's like all these third-party countries, not just Five Eyes, not just the United States, but all these countries are bought into it. New World Order sounds awfully suspicious like that. Now, George Bush said that they were going to implement that. Here it is, man. The New World fucking Order, man. Everyone is immune in government. Only people going to prison are the public. And government is sitting there running with all these weapons and security and stuff. Other people call it the police state. Man, they can kill people and torture them and get away with it. So this psychotronic technology, damn, all it is like a transmitter, man. It's actually an array of transmitters. What only they know the precise specs of their damn satellites, but they have more advanced transmitters than standard transmitters, and they can focus the energy right where they want it. Well, that guy just slapped that girl's ass. Fucking little tart over there was just whistling at me. For all we know, that little bastard is one of their gang stalkers. Ooh. Don't know if I got his license plate there or not. But the whistling, you know that. I got a log of whistling people follow me around. Government employees and police officers, sheriffs, started this whistling thing. And they started doing it at me on purpose. And they'll give me looks, they're watching me. They get anyone to watch me. So, if I'm going every day to this one area, dude, that was when you'd know that they would show up, and then you'd be getting, you know, mistreated there, watched, or whatever. Alright. These transmitters are really advanced, man. We have really advanced masers. There's something called masers. That's just the same as lasers, but there's microwaves. We've got light guns. They've got different arrays. The more complex the transmitter, though, the more things you could do with it. You know, you can shape the signals and beam them to different areas and focus them more than one spot at once. And with directed energy, it's really about using focused energies, not just an omnidirectional signal. So that's how they could hit one target, one person, or multiple targets in an area. It's almost unlimited capacity. And beam energy into people's brains, cops, They're sitting there with their electronic brain link. They're getting signals in their heads. Kind of like Agent in the Matrix, dude. It's all coming from the satellites into their brain. Except they're not being programmed. They're just listening and seeing and sensing stuff, which help they take that in intelligently and do something with it. And then the stuff they're thinking, of course, is read back by the computer. Boom, communication amongst each other or into the computer system.